In the philosophical view that considers the mind as the weaver of destiny, it is posited that the mind is not only the generator of thoughts and emotions, but also the creator and shaper of circumstances. The idea extends beyond mere psychological functioning to encompass the role of the mind in sculpting the conditions of one's life, good or bad. The notion defies the deterministic view that external circumstances are responsible for one's state of being. Instead, it advocates for the idea that each individual is responsible for the state of their life and their destiny. According to this concept, the mind is the fundamental unit that spawns thoughts, emotions, and ultimately the circumstances one finds oneself in. Every action, reaction, and decision stems from the fabric of the mind. The mental processes, woven through habits and experiences, form the tapestry of our lives. This perspective posits that the mind not only interprets reality, but also constructs it. Thoughts are the threads that weave the fabric of destiny, and they have the power to either distort the perception of reality or align it with truth. The idea is fundamentally empowering as it places the control of one's destiny in one's own hands. If you accept that the mind weaves destiny, then you also have to accept that it possesses the ability to unweave and reweave it. Thus, this concept underscores the importance of mental discipline. It promotes the idea that by altering the patterns of thought, by choosing different threads, one can alter the texture and pattern of the tapestry that is life. One significant offshoot of this idea is the role of habit. Habits are nothing but repetitive thoughts and actions. Negative habits can form just as easily as positive ones. When a particular type of thought or action is repeated often enough, it becomes automatic, shaping our character and by extension our destiny. So, if one finds oneself enmeshed in circumstances that are less than desirable, changing those circumstances requires a shift in mental habits. This principle also asserts that external events are not the source of suffering or happiness. It's the mind's interpretation of those events that creates emotional states. Therefore, mastery over one's mind allows one to face external conditions with equanimity, reducing suffering and enhancing well-being. This is particularly empowering because it shifts the focus from the uncontrollable external environment to the controllable internal state of mind. Thus, viewing the mind as the weaver of destiny puts forth the idea that individuals are not passive recipients of fate, but active shapers of their destiny. By giving due attention to the thoughts we entertain, the habits we cultivate, and the choices we make, we engage in the ongoing process of weaving the intricate tapestry of our lives. The role of habit in shaping character is an incredibly powerful concept that is grounded in the understanding that our repeated actions and thoughts become ingrained in our personalities, shaping who we are at our core. The essence of habit lies in repetition. What we repeatedly do forms a pattern, and that pattern gradually becomes a fixed part of our behavior, and by extension, our character. From the way we respond to stress, to how we interact with others, to our work ethic and emotional resilience, our habits play a pivotal role. They are like the brushstrokes in a painting that define its texture and quality. Each individual brushstroke may seem insignificant, but together they form a cohesive whole. Similarly, single actions may seem inconsequential, but when repeated over time, they come together to form a habit, and these habits collectively define our character. It's worth noting that habits are not inherently good or bad. Rather, their value is determined by the effects they produce in our lives. Positive habits, like discipline, kindness, and integrity, result in a character that is generally viewed as good or virtuous. On the other hand, negative habits like dishonesty, laziness, or impulsiveness lead to a character that might be considered flawed or less admirable. The nature of habits also makes them somewhat self-perpetuating. Once a habit is formed, it typically requires less conscious effort to maintain. This can be either an asset or a liability, depending on the nature of the habit. Good habits can effortlessly guide us toward continual growth and improvement, whereas bad habits can just as easily lead us down a path of self-destruction or stagnation, often without us even realizing it. One of the most fascinating aspects of habit formation is its interplay with conscious decision-making. Initially, a habit starts as a conscious choice. You decide to exercise, to read, or to be kind. However, as you repeat these actions, the cognitive load required to perform them diminishes, allowing these behaviors to become automatic. This is because the brain starts to recognize the pattern and creates neural pathways dedicated to that specific behavior, essentially making it easier to perform it without conscious thought. The reverse is also true. Habits can be unlearned or replaced. This requires conscious effort, often more than what was needed to form the habit in the first place. Changing or breaking a habit usually involves a process of self-awareness, wherein one identifies the habit, acknowledges its impact, and actively works to replace it with a different pattern of behavior. In this way, the role of habit in shaping character is a dynamic, ongoing process. It's not just a matter of what you've done in the past, but also what you choose to do now and in the future. By taking control of our habits, we exercise control over our character, providing us with a real, tangible way to become the people we want to be. Therefore, understanding the role of habit in shaping character provides valuable insight into human behavior and personal development. It offers a blueprint for change and growth, demonstrating that we are not permanently bound by our past actions, but have the power to redefine ourselves through the habits we choose to adopt or discard. The notion of the illusion of external circumstances delves into the idea that our perception of reality, including our emotional states, life situations, and even our characters, are frequently attributed to external factors when, in fact, they are shaped primarily by our internal mindset and reactions. This concept challenges the common belief that our happiness, success, or well-being are products of our environment, circumstances, or luck. Instead, it posits that the external world is more of a reflection of our internal states than a dictator of them. In essence, the illusion stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of the relationship between the inner self and the external world. Many people operate under the assumption that their feelings and life conditions are a direct result of what happens to them. If things go well, they're happy. If things go poorly, they're miserable. They view themselves as almost passive recipients of life's whims, and they believe their own capacity to affect change is minimal. However, when one closely examines this belief system, it often unravels. For instance, the same external circumstance can lead to widely different reactions from different individuals. One person's crisis is another person's opportunity. What seems like a terrible event to one individual can be interpreted as a challenging but growth-inducing experience by another. This difference in reaction and perspective points to the fact that it's not external circumstances themselves that shape us, but rather how we interpret and respond to them. The idea of the illusion of external circumstances also ties in with the philosophy that life is a mirror reflecting the inner workings of our minds. If we continuously focus on the negative, we'll tend to see more negativity in the world around us, not necessarily because the world is inherently negative, but because our mindset predisposes us to concentrate on these elements. Conversely, a positive mindset will help us identify opportunities, even in seemingly dire situations. The illusion is perpetuated by societal norms and expectations. We are often told that certain milestones, like getting a high-paying job, marrying the right person, or achieving social recognition, are essential for happiness. When we internalize these external markers of success, we set ourselves up for dissatisfaction because these things are often beyond our control. Even if achieved, they rarely offer lasting contentment. Breaking free from this illusion involves a shift in perspective. It requires recognizing that the locus of control is within us. By changing our internal responses, thought patterns, and actions, we can actually change our experience of life. This is not to say that external circumstances don't have any impact. Of course they do. But this impact is significantly mediated by our internal state. Understanding the illusion of external circumstances is liberating. It empowers individuals to take control of their own lives, to be the architects of their fate rather than mere spectators. It puts the responsibility squarely on the individual's shoulders, which, although daunting, is also empowering. In acknowledging that our interpretation of events holds more weight than the events themselves, we are given the tools to transform our lives from the inside out. The concept of the power of choice and self-liberation revolves around the belief that individuals have an inherent ability to exercise free will and make choices that significantly influence the course of their lives. This idea posits that people are not mere products of their environment or slaves to their circumstances, but active participants who possess the power to change, grow, and liberate themselves through conscious choice. At its core, the idea of choice encapsulates the essence of human freedom. It is the linchpin that holds the wheel of change and transformation in place. The belief that one has the ability to choose among various options, whether these choices relate to thought patterns, emotional responses, or concrete actions, instills a sense of agency and self-efficacy. It shifts the narrative from one of passive existence to one of active engagement with the world. The impact of our choices extends not only to the physical realm, but also deeply influences our psychological states and emotional well-being. By consciously opting for positive thoughts, constructive emotions, and beneficial actions, individuals can significantly alter their life trajectory. These individual choices aggregate over time to form habits, and habits, in turn, solidify into character traits, setting the stage for a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. Simply put, by choosing to be better, individuals can indeed become better. Self-liberation comes into play when people realize that they have the power to break free from limiting beliefs, self-imposed boundaries, or detrimental habits that have held them captive. These self-created restrictions can range from negative thought cycles and self-doubt to tangible issues like addiction or unhealthy relationships. The liberating revelation here is that if one has the power to bind oneself in chains, one also possesses the key to unlock them. Through conscious choices aimed at personal growth and well-being, one can escape these self-made prisons. The journey towards self-liberation often begins with self-awareness. Before choices can be made, one must understand the options available, as well as the consequences of each alternative. This often necessitates introspection, perhaps even the guidance of mentors or counselors who can offer new perspectives. Once armed with awareness, individuals can proceed to make informed choices that align with their values and aspirations. However, it's essential to recognize that the power of choice and the quest for self-liberation are not one-off events but ongoing processes. It is not enough to make a single positive choice and consider the job done. Consistency and perseverance are vital as individuals continue to make choices that compound into a life well lived. Moreover, the notion of choice does not negate the influence of external circumstances. Indeed, various social, economic, and environmental factors do play a role in shaping one's life. Yet the idea remains that within these constraints, individuals still have room to maneuver, to make choices that reflect their true selves and direct their lives towards desired outcomes. In conclusion, the power of choice and self-liberation provides a compelling argument for human agency, responsibility, and transformation. It holds that individuals are not merely adrift on the sea of life, but can actively steer their ships towards harbors of their choosing. And in doing so, they can free themselves from self-imposed limitations, embracing a life of authentic freedom and fulfillment. The path to enlightenment through self-mastery is a transformative journey that invites individuals to delve deep into the depths of their own minds and souls, with the ultimate goal of achieving a heightened state of awareness, peace, and wisdom. Rooted in the belief that true enlightenment comes from within, this path places a premium on the role of self-mastery as a means to transcend the mundane and attain the sublime. To embark on this journey, one must first recognize the importance of self-awareness. The individual needs to understand their own thought patterns, emotional triggers, and behavioral tendencies. This foundational self-knowledge serves as the starting point for a transformational journey. The aim is not just to know oneself, but to master oneself, to gain control over one's thoughts, feelings, and actions. This level of self-control is not meant to be restrictive, but liberating, freeing individuals from the internal turmoil that often clouds judgment and impairs decision-making. Self-mastery involves a rigorous process of self-discipline. One has to continuously train the mind to remain focused, calm, and rational, regardless of external circumstances. It involves developing the ability to control one's impulses, to think before acting, and to choose responses that align with one's values and long-term goals. Techniques like meditation, mindfulness, and introspection often play a crucial role in developing these abilities. Through such practices, individuals can learn to quiet the mind, sharpen their focus, and cultivate an inner sense of peace and stability. As one gains greater mastery over oneself, the concept of self starts to expand. The ego, or the sense of I, begins to dissolve, making way for a more universal perspective where the boundaries between self and others become increasingly blurred. This heightened sense of unity with all beings and things is often accompanied by profound feelings of compassion, love, and interconnectedness. It is at this point that many people experience what can only be described as spiritual enlightenment, a state of complete and utter oneness with the universe. However, the journey does not end here. Enlightenment is not a destination, but a constant state of becoming. Even after experiencing moments of enlightenment, individuals must continue to practice self-mastery to maintain this heightened state of awareness. It requires continuous effort, a commitment to personal growth, and the humility to acknowledge that the path to enlightenment is never truly complete. The implications of attaining self-mastery and enlightenment are profound, affecting every aspect of an individual's life. Relationships become more meaningful as one interacts with others from a place of genuine love and understanding. Challenges and hardships are easier to navigate as one can approach them with a calm mind and balanced emotions. Even the simple, everyday experiences of life take on a new depth and richness. To sum up, the path to enlightenment through self-mastery is not for the faint-hearted. It is a challenging, often arduous journey that demands unwavering commitment, discipline, and self-awareness. But for those who undertake it, the rewards are beyond measure. Not only does it lead to a more peaceful, balanced life, but it also opens the door to a deeper, more profound understanding of existence itself.